Hello, welcome back to Hot Air. I'm Lloyd.
And I'm Tony.
And this week we've got we've got all sorts of stuff on.
Tons of stuff. I don't know how we're going to fit it all in.
No, I don't. We're probably going to have to do like half a dozen segments instead. But
Is this going to be the first 6-segment show, you think?
I don't know. And just for everybody watching as well, I am Lloyd, because you mentioned this morning, you said like, who are you? Because I've had my hair cut and this, that, and the other. It's quite funny.
And bring out your dad.
Yeah. Well, somebody actually mentioned something about my hats actually on what's it. They said like, oh, it's
Hot
like
Topic, they're going to be lost now, aren't they?
I know.
That's still a fine stuff.
I'll have to have a name badge. Yeah. Anyway, we have got for you. Well, in the first segment, actually, I want to talk about what you see in front of you, which is the RTI Priest.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
And it's. Do you know what? It's been. I've had this for about 6 weeks, and I haven't really said an awful lot about it because I can't say it's cheap, but it's such a great price in comparison with what's on the market. I was a little bit suspicious, so I thought I'd test it out.
Yeah.
But this is actually imported from Czechoslovakia, from RTI, brought in by Bob from City Air Weapons.
Yes.
Bob
Phelps. I went down there 2 weeks ago and had a really nice day with Bob and his son Chris. They looked after me. I got the guided tour. Bob's Emporium. It's just
it is an emporium, I've heard.
It's just there's stuff everywhere, and it's just if you are. If you like to go into shopping next, don't go there. But if you like to go into somewhere where there's just intrigue around every corner, it's just fantastic. It's got everything there.
Evidently, Bob doesn't know what he's got in stock half the time because he's got that much of it.
It could be that way. There was things that he probably does know somewhere in the back of his mind, and it'll be in the register.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. But you've got to say, that I was spotting things like Webley Mark IIIs, which I've got an interest in, which we haven't explored yet. And then there was, I said, you've got a couple of target models there, and there's different calibers and different configurations. Webley Mark III. The Mark 1 stock just sitting in the corner waiting for somebody to buy it.
Some real old ball stuff.
Mark 2's there, just thousands and thousands of guns and stuff. It was really interesting.
So worth a visit.
Yeah,
if you're in the area, pop in.
But he's the importer of these, isn't he? Yeah. And he had a couple in the shop, and I had a look at one in there. And I've got a picture of Bob and Chris, which we'll stick on camera.
So, and what were your impressions?
I think I like it. It's a very small company. I got the impression it's a handful of people, maybe
it
one.
Is,
And it maybe volume will be a problem for them, but the design is just so. As we're a non-commercial show. I don't think too many people will be covering this. So why don't we go through it?
Yeah, do you know what we were starting off with the FX Impact a couple of years ago, and obviously there was a few minor issues.
Yeah, I think you stated those, didn't you, Lloyd?
Just
at the time?
Well, we actually drew. I actually wrote a list and actually sent it to FX. It was an A4 sheet.
Yeah.
And
I was in America at the time, but I heard about it.
Yeah. I think a lot of people heard about it. But to be honest with you, I thought it was a good idea because I love the look of the Impact. I really wanted it to work.
Yeah.
And I know that they've got a lot of the problems sorted out now. I think it was a complicated design once at the Impact. There was quite a few places where it could leak from if it wasn't done right, and I think that quality control wasn't quite top notch to start off with. And there's nothing like rubbing a retailer up the wrong way.
Well,
having
you've
guns
got
that come out the box and don't work.
2,000 PSI, 3,000 PSI, 200 up to 250 bar, actually, some of the regular stuff in that. And you've got 16 potential leak points on the Impact.
Yeah.
So you've got to make them right.
Yeah.
And of course, first production on any gun is, it's not like the car industry. It takes it's a job, and I think they struggled. They're probably right now, but how much is an Impact?
1,649, I think it is now.
Fair bit of wage. How much is this?
$8.99.
Ah.
So I saw the Impact. Obviously, we weren't happy with it at first.
Yeah.
In fact, we haven't started stocking the Impact again, but we're getting to that point where we think we're going to start stocking it again. And you know what? I'm not anti-FX. I've actually had that thrown at me.
Yeah.
Because people say,
you said what you thought.
Well, yeah, and the funny thing is, I actually own a Streamline, and the Dreamline's coming as well, which looks really interesting. In fact, we covered that in one of the shows, didn't we? So anyway, let's not go over old stuff. But this, Bob supplied me with a couple of samples actually, just to Do you know what? I'm a little bit suspicious of everything these days. Maybe I've got to be an old cynic, but you see stuff and you read about it, and sometimes in some of the magazines, and you're thinking, is it really like that? So Bob was good enough to supply me with a couple of samples that we could actually test out, and bless him, Andy in the shop, he actually took this out, and he was getting sort of penny piece groups at 35 yards. He said the consistency was really good. In fact, I think that he chronographed it and it was getting about 10 foot per second over the first 50 shots.
Right.
So, I mean, if you want a quick rundown, really, actually, we don't normally do rundowns because there's like loads of other videos out there of these guns already.
But there won't be this one. No.
So let's do a little bit of a rundown. I might get everything not quite in order, but you'll pick it up. So basically, what we've got is. We've got a 300 bar fill rifle.
What's that? 500cc?
400cc.
400cc. Yeah. That's 300 bars high. Most Luxfers are industry standards are 200 bar.
Yeah.
And this is running at 300.
You see, do you know what's funny? Because I don't like filling stuff to 300 bar.
No, it's scary.
I don't know why.
When things go pop at 300, it's a little bit more.
If it's going to pop at 200, it's not exactly going to be fun, is it? But to be honest with you, I mean, these things are tested. So really, I guess... the bottles generally, the shape is incredibly strong. So as long as they got the threading in, that looks like it's stainless rather than brass or something horrible like that. So that looks pretty solid. It's got a regulator in there. It has actually got a regulator. Right, so basically you've got the 300 bar 400cc bottle. You've actually got a regulator. Yeah. You've got unusual for an air rifle. I know this might not mean much to people, but it's actually got a burst disc in it.
I can see two.
The burst disc basically is an extra safety device. Yeah. Really. In fact, actually, if you've ever done paintball, most of the paintball bottles had a burst disc, and if it was overpressured, it's a little copper disc, isn't it, that's held in position, and basically it blows in a special way. It's pretty safe.
Yeah.
It's a nice little extra.
A lot of manufacturers these days build them into the gauges, and I'm not sure who that gauge is by, but it may have one as well. You can usually spot a hole in. No, it hasn't. Okay, so mostly on the gauges they'll have a small hole, and that's usually the burst disc in the gauge, and that's how they cover it. This one hasn't. They put separate burst discs on, which is quite good because changing a burst disc is cheap. Changing a gauge.
You got standard Foster fit in there.
Yep.
Funnily enough, actually, you've got another Foster fit in at the back. We might do a close up of this actually.
Yeah.
But there's another Foster fit in at the back, and actually, funny enough, when we got it, we didn't get the instructions with the first one, and we thought that was to fill, but it turns out this is for a.
It's a tether.
It's a where you can take the bottle off.
Take the bottle off, reduce the weight, have a bottle on your belt, and then you have a curly cord, high pressure hose connecting with a Foster on the back. It's used quite a lot in paintball.
Yep.
Because you can keep the gun smaller and lighter. In actual fact, that can connect to any size bottle. So if you're shooting off a bench,
you could put anything
15-litre bottle beside you and shoot from.
Well, at the end of the day, if it's a 300 bar bottle, it's
300 bar, 15 litres.
Yeah.
What's the shot count on that?
Yeah, somebody's going to ask that, aren't they?
I don't know.
Right. So basically, I mean, it's a really unusual feature. Some people might actually like that idea.
I think it's cool.
I think
it's something
really
that's been suggested over the years. I've heard that, and I've suggested it myself a couple of times. Well, you've got a big ungainly gun, and you want a compact takedown. Not having a bottle on the gun doesn't have to take a lot of weight and balance off it. This can unscrew, and you can tether from the back. That's very clever. I don't know how many people use it, to be honest. Not in the UK where you've got 12 foot-pounds.
No,
but maybe when it's a 30 foot-pound version in the States.
Well, I'm going to order. Good point.
Yeah.
I'm going to order one of the tether systems, and we'll show it again basically because this rifle is not going anywhere. I'm keeping this one. We're going to do some serious testing with this. I really like it. So anyway, you've got 300 bar. You've got Picatinny rail. You've got an interesting magazine setup. I'll just
show the cocking.
We've got the cocking. This is another reason why I like it. Instead of the cocking lever being there, which it is on so many guns that are converted to bullpup, this one was obviously designed as a bullpup, so the cocking lever is there, as you can see. And the nice thing is that when that's cocked back. Just hang on a second, that's it, do it properly. That's the magazine, 12 shots in 2.2, 16 in 177. Interestingly, you can actually put the magazine in from both sides, so it's
and that is trick. I've not seen, that is just like, why didn't somebody think of that?
I haven't tried it on both sides yet, but I actually read up about it, and evidently it's
the
no
Urban-esque
issue.
style of magazine where you have to. I don't know how to load it yet because we haven't looked at that. You must know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But you put a pellet in, holds it back, and then wind around.
Yeah.
So it's very Theoben style. I think the designer was. I can't remember, Stevens, wasn't it?
Of the Theoben mag.
Theoben
I'm
Stevens.
not that old. I can't remember.
All right. It was. Yeah, it was a patented
In the Boer
design.
War.
Yeah, it was patent design in 85. Yeah, not 1885,
1885,
1985.
yeah.
And the patents run out, and they've redesigned that. But I've never seen one. I don't think I've seen a magazine which is ambidextrous.
I don't think I've ever seen
without
one.
moving a stop pin. The Day State magazines are ambidextrous, but you have to move a pin across. Fair enough. But this one doesn't have a pin. It goes in like a Theoben magazine. Steve Lilly is a designer. There you are, Steve. You've been remembered. You designed that style of magazine.
Another little interesting thing about it, I noticed. In fact, actually, I made a sort of. I was making a list of positives and negatives, and I thought this was a negative. Is that have you noticed when you put the magazine in, there's a little bit of wobble?
Yes.
And evidently that's normal because it said it basically allows the probe to take the pellet out of the magazine how it wants to.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what? I thought that if that's bullshit, then it will show in the groupings.
Yeah.
You know, if it's just basically an excuse for poor workmanship, the groupings will be terrible, and then the groupings are fantastic.
All right. Well, even because look, I can push that down.
Yeah.
And I'm getting it's stuck, and I can push that up. It doesn't stick.
I've never noticed that. It's not sticking.
It is.
No, it's not. you can actually feel the bolt going through the magazine slightly, but it's not sticking.
All right.
Do you know what? There is one little. Oh, by the way, that bipod doesn't. That's one of the Adras bipods from Mike Ernie, which are about 40 odd quid. We just put that on just so we could actually see it. Okay. Other interesting things about it. Surprisingly good trigger.
Yeah.
1.5 pound pull trigger.
Yeah, it's very nice.
It's almost a little bit.
Right, straight linkage. If you're going to have a bull pump, you're going to have a linkage back mechanism. Where's the hammer?
Keep it straight.
You keep it straight, and they've done that. They've got it. Hammer's back there. They've got a straight rod linkage running through this tube. What a lovely piece of design.
Well, it's actually. This is the first time I think I've ever said this on any bull pup. That trigger is actually too light for me.
Yeah.
I'd probably have to heavy it up a touch.
Yeah.
It's lovely. It's really, really nice actually. Some people will really appreciate it. So great trigger. Also, as well, another thing we've noticed is it's ridiculously quiet.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, we got one of those little huggy mini micro beliters. I can't remember what he's called them, to be honest with you, but the little mini beliter about that big. Shoved one of those on it, and it was ridiculous.
Where's the barrel end? Have you had a shroud?
It ends before the end.
Right, so it's using a reflex.
I don't think there's that much. I don't think there's that much. I've not actually looked.
All right.
But to be honest with you, it's really, really quiet, and with the silencer on, it's amazing. I reckon you could actually run that without the silencer.
I think the serviceability on it's going to be very, very easy as well. It doesn't look like, an impact serviceability is like how long have you got, whereas this looks relatively. Everything's there, accessible by the screws at the back.
Well, actually,
like
that's
anti-tamper.
That's one thing. The screws will be anti-tamper.
Yeah. But that's okay. But I'm talking about serviceability in the gun shop. You know, if you needed to get in there,
we've ordered. In fact, the tools are on the way for them. So we will be because we're going to be stocking
20mm rail, Picatinny spacing. Low scope height comparatively.
Relatively, yeah. What else have we got? We've got 6.6 pounds in weight.
Yeah.
So
is that an Armalite grip modified, or it's an AK? It's a Kalashnikov grip. So,
is it?
Yeah, it's because of the shape.
What else have we got? 350 shots at a 300 bar filling 177. 450 in 2.2. Like I said, we've tested accuracy wise penny piece groups at 35 yards, no problem at all. 10 foot per second over the first 50 shots. We sort of got bored, to be honest. You know what it's like. You chronographing that. Some people can do it, some people can't. Magazine loads from both ways. Trigger down to 1.5 pounds pull. Interesting, we haven't mentioned a quite important feature of this, and that's the fact that it's CZ barrel.
Yeah.
Which
they have a good reputation.
Fantastic. I remember selling the S200s that Air Arms brought in.
Yeah.
and people were absolutely raving about the barrels, so much so that people were buying the barrels and putting them on their expensive FT rifles. So this has actually got a CZ barrel as standard in it.
From a Czech company, they're probably the only people who can get them, to be fair, because CZ are very
maybe easy
careful
for
who they buy and sell to.
Magazines are extra £50 a piece, a little bit on the expensive side, to be honest with you. I'd like to have seen that at 35, £40 maximum. The only other thing that there's not many things that I don't like about this rifle, but you can actually caliber swap, but it's £320 to swap calibers. I had no idea why it's so expensive.
Well, replacement magazine, barrel's £100, magazine £50, £150. Yeah, it's getting a bit much, and you've got a probe.
I don't get that, to be honest with you. So it might be one of those guns that you just choose your caliber, or actually maybe just buy one of each.
Well, I don't think many people caliber swap, do they?
I think people like the idea of it.
They do, yeah, because
but they don't actually do it in practice.
Can I change the barrel? Yes, you can. Oh, thank you, and that's the end. They move on from there.
Yeah.
Get a 177.
Yeah. So overall,
I think the design's nice. It feels handy. It does feel heavy. And I think there's a problem with the head-on cold metal.
That's the other thing, yeah.
Not in an English summer, or this English summer, but maybe in a normal English summer.
Well, funny enough, I was looking at that, and if you notice you've got these little slots here, it wouldn't be that difficult to rig either. I tell you what, like these guys that have these 3D printers now, and the always pins.
But you've got to raise it. Well, you probably just want a bit of sticky tape on there with a bit of, I don't know, felt.
Botch and bend it, haven't you?
Yeah.
I'd want a 3D printed glue. Sort of. You'd probably
I'd glue
a bit of cat fur onto it or something like that. Yeah, it'd be lovely that. Yeah. No, I want a beautiful. I want a beautiful 3D printed, lovely looking cheek piece to not spoil the lines. Oh, and also as well, the other thing is, if you don't like the Tacticool All Black.
Tacticool? Where does that come from?
I've heard it.
Oh,
I didn't make it up. Yeah. But the Tacticool All Black, you can actually get them in silver, green, and gold.
Gold.
Yeah, I knew that as soon as I mentioned gold, you were probably thinking,
wow,
gold there, and I'll have a bright blue barrel or something like that.
Now you're talking.
Yeah. I've seen your guns. But anyway, you can get those, and those little sort of accoutrements are about £45 for a
gold with teddy bear fur.
You haven't seen that. Have I told you what we're having made done? I'll tell you in the next episode because we're running out of time. We've got something coming that's going to be absolutely hideous. I can't wait. On that note, we're going to go and have a brew.
We'll come back, and then we've got our special guest star coming on for the day.
Okay. See you in a minute.
Good. Okay, a few shows back we offered a competition winner of this fine air pistol donated by Solware, Carl at Solware. Thank you, Carl. And the winner is Matthew1147. So if Matthew1147 could send us an email or put something in the comments below, we'll find a way of getting this pistol to you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Steve from the British Shooting Show. Come and see us in February next year, 2019. We'll have wider aisles, more space, and a bigger and better show. Thank you.